The pain was where my love for music came from.
I knew from the beginning when I met her that I was in the presence of greatness.
She was one of the most technically perfect singers I've ever worked with. If you could dream it, she could sing it.
There was some pretty huge pressure.
It was really, really, really hard.
I said, you really need to get in touch with your dark side and your depression.
You can actually hear me crying on the record.
I'm a different person, I've grown up.
It's been quite the journey. I still feel like I've just started and it's just the beginning.
She really can do anything.
I didn't grow up with any lavish things or luxury lifestyle. It's not where I come from. I love that I can look back at my life and know both sides of the spectrum. I've kind of lived just complete opposite lives.
I could not do it without the love and support of all of you.
Christina Aguilera was born on December 18, 1980, in Staten Island, New York, to Fausto and Shelley Aguilera.
Christina, she was born singing. Oh, goodness. She was a tiny thing.
Shelley worked as a Spanish translator. Fausto was an Ecuadorian-born sergeant in the U.S. Army. Their marriage was troubled from the start.
Fausto and I began having problems. I noticed a change in him the minute I said I do. I became sort of possession rather than a wife. And I didn't quite know how to deal with that.
The family moved often following Fausto's military assignments.
We were stationed in Japan for 3 years. We were kind of stuck there. It was a rough time. So Christina and I were kind of each other's saviors.
I've witnessed a lot of unpleasant things and a lot of pushing, shoving, and fighting and quarreling, and you know, it was hard. It was really, really hard.
Shelley remembers one incident involving Christina during their first few months overseas.
I was downstairs, and all of a sudden I hear this huge thud. I'm going to get emotional. I'm sorry. And I go upstairs. And there's my 4-year-old girl, and she has blood going down her chin. And, you know, I scooped her up. I'm like, what's wrong? Oh, my God. And she said something to the order that Daddy wanted to take a nap and I make too much noise. And I turned to Fausto and I said, what did you do? And he goes, I'm sorry. He goes, I was going to spank her and I missed. That's what he said, and I just didn't say anything from there. That was the only time that was actually against her. Usually I was the target.
Growing up, I did not feel safe. Feeling powerless is the worst feeling in the world. Your home needs to feel like your sanctuary, and it wasn't that way for me. I turned to singing as an outlet. The pain was where my love for music came from, a need to escape, a need to feel something truly, truly good and real in my life.
She would just sing constantly, day and night. Whenever there was a lot of stress in the home, that was her way of dealing with it in her own little world.
The sound of music pretty much saved my life. Whenever there's fighting and chaos around me, I escaped up to my room. I would put that soundtrack on in my room.
She would throw the window open every day in her bedroom and sing.
That was sort of my release as something else to put all my time and focus and energy into other than my surroundings and my environment.
On June 6, 1986, Shelley gave birth to her second daughter, Rachel. Later that year, the Army transferred Fausto again, this time to Fort Dix, New Jersey. 2 months later, Shelley took the girls and headed for her mother's home in Rochester, Pennsylvania.
I had enough money, just barely, for gas, formula, and diapers. And we packed all our most important things. I remember Christina in that car, looking back, you know, she was 6 years old. But Mommy, what if he comes home? What if he takes a lunch break and drives by with his friends and recognizes our car? I mean, it was everything I could do to keep her calm.
I respect her for having the courage to leave my dad and leave the situation that she was in.
As they adjusted to their new life, Christina's grandmother realized that the young girl had a gift.
I was kind of still in survival mode and my world was spinning, but my mom said, wait a minute, let's just stop listening to her. She goes, that's not normal. That's really good. It was first grade. And she said, Mommy, there's a talent show, I want to sing. And I said, sure, honey, that's fine. And so she went in the talent show, and oh my gosh.
She started to sing, and it was just, you could have heard a pin drop. It was unbelievable. That's when everybody realized in the town that this was somebody special.
I had, gee whiz, every mother under the sun coming up to me, you have to enroll her in Star Search. Send an audition tape into Star Search.
Me, my mom, my grandma, we would watch it every Saturday when it was on, and it would be a ritual.
I heard back from Star Search within a week.
And I made it, it was just like, oh my God.
Christina was absolutely thrilled.
We got to fly out, and first time we ever saw L.A. Like, wow, look at this big fancy hotel we're in.
That was such a fun time.
On March 15, 1990, 9-year-old Christina made her national television debut.
And here she's this little teeny thing, and she was wearing my concert blouse with this big gaudy belt. But I let her wear it because she loved it.
I went out there and I just did what I always, did before and got into it. And again, it was just something that always just came naturally. But I was so sad. I was so upset when I lost. It was my first big upsetting moment of my life.
The backlash at school was even worse.
I had mothers turning their backs on me. I'm like, the same mothers who were like, you gotta send something in. Oh my gosh. But, I'm like, I was very confused. What the heck happened? What happened? Did I do something?
Some of the mothers assumed that their children knew that they weren't as good as Christina was and didn't have the voice that she did, and they really began to feel that she was showing some of their children up. So she was asked not to be in the talent show anymore. She really was upset then.
If you have a genuine talent, it does really weird things to other people.
It just takes a few cruel people to make it very uncomfortable very quickly.
Instead of embracing her and her talent, things just went the opposite way, which kind of broke her heart.
Got to the point where I kind of didn't even want to talk about what I was doing.